You are doing very well for yourself. All you need, all that you require is just a very fine tuning, a very subtle fine tuning, a little difference in the way that you're seeing things. Because you don't have to make any big life changes. It's not big life changes. It's not big changes in your output, effort wise. It's actually just little changes, little thoughts, little changes here and there in your vibrational offering to which the law of attraction is responding to. Because you think that it's the big things, that it's the big thoughts that are clogging up your vibration and clogging up your receiving mode and hindering your ability to realize and receive the things that are really ringing your bells. The little things you can get, no problem. The little things that are so day to day that you're actually really good at manifesting, because you're very good at manifesting. You understand that when I feel good, I can make myself feel good about a desire for the sake of wanting to feel good, and also because I want a different result, and bang, it comes into reality. But it's those big thoughts, it's those big desires that you have a lot of clogged pipes and clogged airways about, because you've been thinking about them so long. So you've been noticing for a really long time that they're not here. And so it's really easy to measure and notice the absence of these big things because they seem big, they seem like they need a lot of work and they need a lot of action. But in reality, it's not like that at all, because it's a vibrational world. It's not these big thoughts, it's these little moment-to-moment thoughts that you're having that are shutting and closing down your receiving mode. And today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to introduce this idea of what it really means to tune your frequency and use momentum, and using momentum to your advantage. Using your momentum to offer the vibration that you want to, because law of attraction can help you. You can do everything the easy way, but it just takes a certain vibrational understanding, which is this. As humans, you're so used to picking up the most problematic subject that you have and then putting all your attention onto it. And so when you do that, you emanate a vibration about confusion, about frustration. And so every subject in your life becomes so clogged up, just as the subject that's really clogged up, everything becomes clogged up. Your whole perception becomes clogged up. And so you only have access to thoughts of confusion. Have you ever experienced that? Where the worse it gets, the worse it gets, the worse it gets, and the worse it gets, and it just gets so bad, and then you receive a manifestation, like maybe you get pulled over, or maybe you're just having a bad day. But what's interesting is that the bad day, you can stop the bad day before it gets too big. You have to understand that everything is slow at first, but because you give your attention to it, it speeds up. And because you're not sensitive to your emotion, because you're not catching things in the early stages, because that's what it's about. It's about catching how you feel in the early stages where you can actually do something. And so there's only one answer, and this is the fine-tuning that everyone is really looking for. The only answer to your questions about how can I get this, and how can I have my dream life, and how can I do this, there's only one answer, which is you have to get into the vortex. And when you get into the vortex, you feel good about everything generally, and then you start to get in the receiving mode, the ball starts to get rolling, momentum starts to pick up, and then you start to think about all the desires that really ring your bell, and then you start to see them as current reality. And if you're kind of new to this, or you're kind of like a regular human who is very used to seeing what they're used to seeing, and they're used to offering all the vibration in terms of what they're in observation to what they're seeing, then you're kind of at odds with this vibrational reality, because anytime you go into the vibrational reality and you catch whiff of the current realityness of your desires, especially those big ones, you fall right out, because you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense, because how am I saying that something is there and I'm excited for it when I have no idea how it's going to come? And it goes back to this understanding of law of attraction, that you've put everything into the vortex, and your inner being knows where you are, and knows where everything is, and knows where all the cooperative components are, and knows how to get you from where you are along the path of least resistance to everything that you want, to everything that you want. And your inner being is such a real one, because your inner being follows you in every thought and offers you a trail based on where you are right now. Because where you are right now, you're the only one who can understand that, because you have a guidance system. Did you know that? Do you know that you have a built-in guidance system that when you came to this body, you knew that you would become a master of? Because all of this really is, all creation, all of law of attraction, all this understanding of deliberate creation really boils down to you just have to care about how you feel. Because caring about how you feel can help you navigate this terrain of contrast. Because contrast is very heavy, because if you don't do it right, then you get clogged up, and it takes years for things to come. But it shouldn't take years. You're waiting too long. All it takes is this. Make your statement of desire, and the second you make that statement of desire, how you really feel and all the beliefs and all the sticky thoughts and all the momentum that you feel about that subject will boil to the surface. So think about this. say something like, I feel good about money. And then when you feel good about money, and when you say that I feel good about money, you will feel the thoughts that you'll activate all the thoughts that you have about money. And you may think that they're dormant, you may think that they're subconscious, but it's really not that at all, because they're at the forefront. It's really how you feel about the desire. It's how you feel about the subject. And how you feel about any subject is truly what you're getting. But you can change it. Everything is subject to change in this vibrational reality. All it takes is a simple understanding of momentum. When there's these subjects that you have a lot of momentum on, meaning whenever the subject pops into your mind, like money, for example, or your body, or your career, or the books that you're writing, or anything that you may have a hard time even getting your thoughts around, and you just don't have any evidence on, and like you just know that you're not doing very well on them, those subjects, the momentum goes so fast, because the second it activates in your mind, maybe it's something that you're seeing, it goes downhill fast. The car rolls down the hill so fast, because what happens when a car is at the top of a hill and you push it goes down that hill. That's momentum. So whenever there's these thoughts, whenever there's these subjects, and these subjects have momentum, the car will roll down that hill really fast. And sometimes you can't stop the car fast enough before the car goes down the hill fully, and before you know it, you're going downhill, and you're kind of going down that rabbit hole that you always go to. And so you're the only one that can decide, and you're the only one that who can understand from where you're standing, your emotional state, your vibrational state. You're the only one that can understand. Can I really sustain? Can I think about the subject right now, or is it just easier to forget about it because you're the only one that can know? And so sometimes you're feeling good. Sometimes you're doing law of attraction, and you're doing the deliberate creation work, and you're doing the emotional work and the vibrational work. Like you're meditating, you're positive aspecting, you're going general, and so you have control over your frequency. The car doesn't go down the hill really fast, because the second it tips down the hill, you know what's happening, because you know your negative emotions, you know your alarm bells, you know understand your guidance system. So you stop the car, and so once you stop the car, now you're in a new spot in this desire. And when this desire that you've had a lot of problems with, now you're in a new space with it, because before the car went down the hill, you stopped it. And so now you can offer a different vibration. You can clean the subject up once and for all. So that's really interesting, because when it comes to cleaning up your subject, your vibration about a subject, all that really means is, can you shift how you see it? So instead of seeing it as absent, can you see it as present? Can you see it as present? Can you see it as present? Can you understand generally that the law of attraction works, and that you've seen it before, and you've had many desires that once you doubted and they freaking came. So you understand logically, yes, the presence of this desire does exist. I just haven't seen it yet. That's accurate, but it's not accurate to say I believe that this desire exists. Because did you hear that? Because when you say I believe this desire exists, what you're saying is, what the underlying statement that you're admitting to the law of attraction is, I don't have it. I'm not there right now. And so you want to completely omit that from your vibration. And that's the fine-tuning that we're talking about today, friends, because it's a fine-tuning, because you're not sensitive enough to your emotions to be able to mold your thoughts the way that you knew them to be when you knew. And so it's really interesting, because it's really steady thought. It's steady thought that creates all of your creations. And so it's steady, uninterrupted, undisputed, uncontradicted thought that makes it all the way to the finish line, into the manifested reality that you can see. But right now it's all vibrational, but you have to take pleasure from the vibrational reality. And I know it sounds like we're saying many things at once, but it's really because we're talking at many levels of your being. So even if these words that you're hearing, maybe they sound a little dissonant, and maybe they sound a little like what you can't really get a foothold in this understanding, you're feeling resonance with these words. We're talking to your inner being and your vibrational core, and so you can understand it. You will, because words don't teach, only life experience does. But what we're offering is not really words. And it's funny that we offer so many, but it's really, we're offering this vibrational, we're emitting the signal of clarity of who you really are, and you will come closer and closer and closer to it, and you will come into contact with it enough that you'll become more used to it, and before you know it, you will be able to develop your own connection to source energy. But for the time being, it's truly the best thing in the world to talk about deliberate creation and to talk about law of attraction, because it rules everything and it governs this universe. It puts it's an ultimate manager. It puts everything together. And so you have to understand momentum. This is all a game of momentum. And when everything is a game of momentum, that means that the subjects that are big and that are sticky, those are the subjects that you want to stay off of. It's not about who can solve the problems and who can offer the most effort in the vibrational world. That's not the metal you're looking for. The true metal is feeling good. And it's like you want to think about the subjects that are easy, and then when you think about those subjects that are easy, and then you know for a fact that when I think about the subject, I'm gonna feel good no matter what, because it's easy to feel good about it. Then you use those subjects to tune your frequency, and once you tune your frequency, then all the subjects in your reality get fixed. Because instead of trying to go to that subject and trying to iron it into place, which is effective, but it's a lot of work. Instead, you're tuning your frequency. You're realizing that when I take the easiest thing, the easiest subject in my mind that's just easy to feel good about, like maybe it's just state of clarity, or maybe it's just walking outside, or maybe it's listening to music on your phone, maybe it's sports, or whatever the subject is. You think about it tunes your frequency, and now every subject in your life becomes changed. And now you have access to all these subjects, and all these subjects are different in your mind. They're different. You can now change. You can start to move in a different direction every single subject that matters, because the presence and the absence they feel so different. And sometimes you mix the two, and sometimes you can't tell the difference between the presence and the absence, because you're jumping into these subjects that you know you have a lot of problems with, and we see problems very lightly because it's just those are the subjects that you're most sloppy on, because you have so much leeway on those subjects. So because you've been thinking about them for so long, so you have a lot of absence on them, so you don't really believe. So here you are, sloppy, right, in the subject. So these subjects are very difficult for you to get a foothold in. But once you tune your frequency on a subject that's easier, now you have a chance at changing how you feel about the subject, because you've practiced the absence of it for so long that the presence of it is not something that you're used to, but you can get used to it. Because when you use that easy subject, now you've got it. Now you've got the formula. Now you've understand that this is about tuning your frequency. It's not about working hard, and it's not about problem solving. It's about understanding that the problem and the solution are on two different frequencies. So if I'm complaining about the problem and wondering how the problem is going to get fixed, I can't ever receive a solution. I have to experience the problem and put the problem aside, and then hop on to the solution frequency. Because friends, it's such a simple game. That's what's so funny about all of this. It's such a simple game. It's such a simple game because it's all a game. It's a game of focus and momentum, because focus equals momentum, and momentum equals manifestation. You want to let everything mature, and you want to let everything ripen and be ready just for you. And remember, your readiness, you're almost ready. You really are almost ready, and you know how ready you are, because when you talk about the desire that you want, and you tell yourself, oh, I'm so excited for this new phone or this new avenue of revenue. When you think that, and then you can feel if you're up to speed with the flow or not, because those are high frequency thoughts, because your desires, the presence of your desire is a high frequency, and the absence is a lower frequency. So the lower frequency, when you're used to negative emotion, the lower frequency just feels like frustration. It feels like hopelessness. It just feels easy to be there. It just feels like guardedness. It's just, you're used to it. But when you realize that positive emotion is who you really are, then you understand that that's what you're really aiming for. You're aiming to make that jump, but that jump is impossible. That's what's interesting. It's impossible because the law of attraction won't let you. You have to tune. You have to tune the frequency. You have to tune to the higher frequency. And what we're saying today is, in order to go to the higher level, just find a subject that's easy to think about, and that when you think about that subject, it will take you to the high frequency. So instead of going about it the hard way, which is climbing up the ladder, just go to any subject that's easier and hop onto the high frequency. And from that high frequency, everything is changed, because now you're on the presence. Now you're in the vortex, and so everything is easier on everything. You have access to everything. You have access to how your source feels about everything. And so you just have to understand that your steady focus to anything is what's inviting into your reality. So you have to have a steady focus. You have to apply a steady focus to the presence of your desire. The presence. I'm excited about the desire. I'm so ready for it. I don't know how it's going to come, and that's not my job. I'm just so excited for it. Law of attraction has already dished up. It's finished. It's completed in the vibrational reality, and I can't wait to translate it. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be so good for me. I'm really so ready for it. I'm so excited for it. And if that's a conversation that you can have, and you don't right away jump to the absence of it, because the absence is so compelling. What is so compelling? And there's no way around it. You have to make peace with what is. You have to understand that it's just temporary. So you're taking pleasure in your thoughts. You're saying, I'm so excited for it. It's so fun. And you can literally feel the energy. But when you start to steer in the direction of, yes, it's so close, I can feel it. I'm so excited for it. It's so close, I can feel it. You're really telling the universe, I don't have it. Yeah, I'm not there yet. So you want to omit that stuff. You want to only stay on what feels good. It should literally feel like crack. It should make you feel so hot. It should literally feel like a drug. That's what your desires feel like. Pure desire feels like a drug. And the absence of your desire hurts. And so you're doing really well. And it's always our it's always our favorite thing in the world to say that you're doing really well, because you are, because you're mixing it up, you're killing it, and you're just getting clearer and clearer and clearer. You can never really get anything wrong, and you can never get it done anyways. We just think that you should be having more fun. This life is a vacation, and you should be it's an endless vacation, it's an endless cruise, and every moment should be that vacation. You should be happy in every moment, or at least making your way there. You really shouldn't spend one more moment in the contrast. If we were you, we would spend all of our time receiving. We would spend all of our time getting ready and talking about how excited we were for whatever it is that really rung our bells.